Hello, and welcome to Pique My Interest, a podcast dedicated to creativity. My name is Scoob Decker, and I am an artist, and your host. Pique My Interest is an exploration in meeting some incredible artists, learning about their craft, and exploring what makes them create. This week, we celebrate the next holiday episode in the PMI Holiday series with one of the most incredible performers in the world. His past is a mystery. He has kept his background a secret, saved from the streets from a very young age, and transformed that gritty, rough lifestyle into world-class performances on the big stage. He has irresistible big brown eyes that you cannot say no to. This is the story and creativity of Murphy. Happy April 1st. I hope you look up his work and your interest is piqued. I hope you're having a grand day, and please enjoy this week's episode I've titled, We're Not in Kansas Anymore. Hello, and welcome to Pique My Interest. We are celebrating the next holiday in the holiday series with the most incredible artist. How are you doing today? Fantastic. Please, tell us about you. Introduce yourself. Who are you and where are you from? Right on. You are indeed Murphy. You live in Montana. That is where you reside, but you are from Phoenix. You were adopted in Phoenix. How long ago? Oh, goodness. Yeah, you were adopted when you were 3, and now you're 12. Holy moly. So you've been hanging out with your parents for a while, huh? Yeah. You like them, huh? And you're currently with the National Tour of 6. You're not doing anything, just kind of hanging out and doing your thing. Yeah. Awesome. Well, please, pique our interest. What is your craft? You are a musical theater performer. And what is your specialty within performing? No, I completely agree. Your performances are 100% genuine. The feel is real. You never feel like you're just up there doing what you're supposed to be doing and waiting for the next command. You are totally in the moment and 100% believable. I think that separates you from other people who are on stage, whether they be an animal or a human. I think your work is just phenomenal. But I want to know, like, what about your performing is a little different than others? Well, I mean, yes, that is true. Your skills have taken you around the world. I think you've done over 350 performances with The Wizard of Oz as the iconic Toto. That was 2 national tours, as well as you went international, several different countries. I think it is also true to say that your work on stage makes it feel like you are just another one of the actors, that you're not just sitting there waiting for the next treat. You steal the show. I mean, it's self-explanatory when you're up there doing your final bow. The crowd just goes wild. But before we get into your performing, I want to talk a little bit about your background. Do you have any education in theater? Oh, yes, like we said, you were adopted from the streets of Phoenix, so you have a little bit of a gritty background, kind of making your way, making ends meet, starving artist on the streets. But then you were adopted by these incredible people. Shout out to Lizzie Webb and Scoob Decker, that's me, for adopting you and turning your whole life around. And I just want to say thank you for helping me as we adopted you. I think you really saved us. And so I think that that's evident in your performing, that you can have this grittiness, that you have something to tap into. But I want to know about your upbringing that really turned you into a creator. Yes, I mean, that is true. With a household full of performers, it's easy to just kind of slip on into it. And then, again, with your skill set, to kind of start showing people up. So now let's get into it a little bit. What piqued your interest about musical theater? That is true. I do bring you with me everywhere, whether I'm performing or managing. You are with me, and a lot of the times you do have your own backstage pass. It's fantastic. And is that the reason what got you into theater? Yeah. I think that's interesting that you mentioned that. We started at a community theater. We just did this small little production of The Wizard of Oz where we had such a fun time, and community theater is such a beautiful place. You can get caught up in the professional world, but at that level you know that you're working with people who do it for the love of theater. And that opportunity allowed you, which you had done a little bit previous, you had done Mary Poppins, you played a smaller character, but this was kind of your step towards professional theater. And you worked on that for a while, but then all of a sudden you just took off. You auditioned for the national tour, and very soon you were hired before me. But that's here or there. And then we went, and you were the star of the show. And yeah, there's a Dorothy in there, but it was pretty interesting every night that you had the final bow, and the place just went absolutely bonkers. So I just want to get into that a little bit. Speaking of that applause, you've been around the world. I've seen your face on buses in China. I've seen your face on billboards in Saudi Arabia. 350 performances. To me, that is success. What is success in your craft, and what really got you succeeding? It's just that hard work and determination, and the trust within your company to know that no matter what happens, they've all got your back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think that leads into the next few questions. Let's get into it a little bit. Let's talk about your creation process. How do you start your creation process? It starts at the very beginning. You wake up, you do your morning stretches. But what about once you get to the theater? Well, you just do your rounds, make sure that all your colleagues have the treats that they need to make sure that you're on the same page, and you like to run around with everybody. Oh, that's incredible. And what really gets your creative juices flowing? What inspires you? Yeah, it is true. From the streets of Phoenix, I can assume just laying in the sun is probably one of the most rejuvenating things you can do. And I just want to know, like, while you're performing or creating characters, how does your process adapt or change while you work? Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, theater is a living and breathing thing. That is 100% true. You just have to be able to adapt and change. Something happens on stage, you need to be able to just kind of go with the flow. Absolutely. I mean, you might not have any, but I want to know, like, as an artist, we usually run into a brick wall. How do you overcome that? Just big old naps. Okay, yeah, no, I don't think everybody can take about 12 naps a day and sleep about 16, 18 hours a day, but I totally understand. That's nice. That's fantastic. Going off of that, do you have any other hobbies? And do they complement or contradict your craft? Oh, yes. I do. As a matter of fact, you've got your cheeseburger right here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We also have your flamingo and your tennis ball and your penguin. Those are your absolute favorites, and I just love playing with you. You're so much fun, and you just bring such an energy. But I've found with a lot of my artists that there is an element of outdoor. Do you like to be outside? Oh, okay, all right, yeah. I mean, I guess you do go to a lot of national parks. You go hiking. That's probably because of us. But I'm glad you enjoy it. You have a lot of fun, and you end up taking a big old nap at the end. But I get that. You love to play with your friends too. Yeah. I understand you're not much of a dog person, but hanging out with other people is definitely where you thrive. Whether that's just kind of calming them down a little bit or just playing with them, I get it. But going a little further, I want to know, would you recommend going to school or taking classes to build on your craft? Oh, no, okay. I get it, yeah, no, you didn't have any formal education in the school system, and you kind of got popular with the world of hard knocks, so I get that. But what would be your advice to get educated in musical theater and to start for newcomers? Tap into your roots. Yeah. It's hard to do when you might not have as gritty of a background as you do and can't just tap into that world that you do. But I get that. Finding what's real within you and applying that to your characters makes that as genuine, as real as possible. And one of my personal beliefs, make it believable. But I want to know, As artists, we always run into people who might not like our work. How do you handle criticism? Are you kidding me? Do you hear the applause after the show? There is nothing wrong with your performings. That's fantastic. Now, I want to know, time to clear the air, are there any misconceptions about your craft? Yes, I have heard that. As a matter of fact, Murphy is not on any sedatives or any drugs during his performances. That's just how he is sometimes. Sometimes the lights just hit your face, and sometimes you just gotta squint and, maybe take a nap on stage. I totally get that. I personally have never done that, but I know that is your process. Going a little further, do you have any funny or interesting stories that have happened with your craft? Oh, yep. I do remember that. We ended our national run in Chicago, and it was a fantastic, amazing place. And while we finished, during loadout, we got everything packed up. We were getting everything to send off to overseas, and a few of the grass units from Munchkinland were out there, and Murphy, he loved Munchkinland. It was really bright and fun, and everybody got to hang out with him. But he would just always see this grass, and it just called to him. During loadout, while the grass units were kind of in this back alley waiting to get loaded onto the trucks, Murphy finally went over there and he did his duty and he peed on it. And I just thought it was justice that Toto finally got to pee on the grass in Munchkinland. Yeah. Yeah. And just moving outside your craft a little bit, what's next for the world of you? What's next for you personally? Yes. You are semi-retired. I do understand Toto was such a big part and aspect of your life. It'd be hard to even take anything else on. But, I mean, there are other roles in theater for dogs. There's Sandy and Annie, Bruiser and Legally Blonde, and who knows what's going to come up in the next few years. Do you think you're going to make a return to the stage? Yeah? Okay, yeah. No, I totally understand. Maybe when something speaks to you or when the opportunity presents itself, I totally get that. But for now, you're just hanging out with the Queens on the North American tour of 6. That's fantastic. I'm sure they love you. I'm sure you are just the royal dog that you need to be. I can't thank you enough for joining me and piquing my interest. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up? Oh, you're such a good boy. Yes, you are. Okay. But I do like to end with one last question. If you could excel at any craft other than your own, what would you want to do? Professional taste tester. Okay, yeah. I do know that we have you part-time as a vacuum cleaner in our kitchen, and sometimes you're pretty lousy at that, but is there anything else? Yeah, we go through national parks all the time, and you are a bark ranger. That is incredible. Which is kind of ironic, because you don't really bark. You're pretty quiet. You keep to yourself. Well, thank you. Again, I can't thank you enough for being here, even though you're with me 24/7. And thank you to all my peekers out there. Please let me know if you know of any special or unique artists or art forms you think I should explore. I'm currently with Murphy, and can't wait to see where Pique My Interest takes me next. Remember, creativity comes from the heart. Push yourselves. Be kind to each other. I'm Scoob Decker, and thank you for helping me pique my interest. That's a good boy.